The Eagles have been players in free agency, mostly holding on to their own, acquiring a few pieces that are not highly ranked outside the organization, but what do they still need? What's up, it's your boy Cintron. Come back at you with another analysis/news video, and I kid you not, that's my real name. So once we do handle the Eagles business, we'll go around the league a little bit. But first, it's about the midnight green. So let's look at this article, ranking the Eagles' positional needs prior to the 2023 NFL Draft. So primarily, we need a lot of help at safety, linebacker, running back, and D-tackle, wide receiver, and we'll see how those factor into the equation. So the first here, safety. Let's look at who we have on the roster. So currently we have Reed Blankenship, who was a priority free agent, undrafted free agent that we brought in, had some quality starts for us, and got a lot of valuable playing time. Kavon Wallace, the third safety. Andre Chachere, who was a practice squad player, who's just there for emergency/depth purposes. And Justin Evans, who we signed in free agency, is a former second-round pick of the Bucks. So as of right now, we're missing potentially two starters, and we're going to have two new starting safeties in the secondary. And, that's a big blow. Of course, we lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the Lions. He's on a one-year deal for $8 million, $6.5 guaranteed. And we also lost Marcus Epps to the Raiders. He signed a 2-year, $12 million deal. And, he was a solid safety for us, but, the worst member of the secondary. But, it just shows we didn't need him to be a star in the secondary with us having those two solid corners and a playmaking safety over the top. And we wouldn't even need that. Reed Blankenship, I believe in him enough to slot him in as one of the starting safeties, a free safety or a strong safety. I don't know if it's going to be interchangeable in this defense, in the Vic Fangio defense designed by one Sean Desai, who's coming in as our new D coordinator after our D coordinator left to go to Arizona, Jonathan Gannon. You bitch ass. Glad you're out of here. And we really don't know what it's going to look like. They're kind of keeping things under wraps purposefully because we don't want to give away the playbook, quite literally. And don't want our division opponents having to jump on us, make them work hard for what they're going to see in September, October, and there, throughout. But Justin Evans, he's a nice depth option, had some nice tape, but he's been injured. That's why he comes, at such a low cost and on a one-year deal. But Reed Blankenship, he could actually, start in the secondary and showed, flashed last year, especially in the Green Bay game. He picked Aaron Rodgers off in a flash, came out of nowhere. And after that, man, I was like, this kid looks like he might be legit. And got some quality snaps for us. Even when we had C.J. Gardner-Johnson in there, he, would drop down to the nickel. He would cover up top at the free safety position, starting essentially, or in a starting position, basically. But I like him, though. I like him. He's a smart kid. Didn't play out of position. Actually, was, I think, our highest rated safety, according to PFF, last year. So bringing another guy to play alongside him, preferably a veteran, but, I wouldn't be opposed to bringing in a Brian Branch, Johnson out of Texas A&M, or another one of those guys like Sidney Brown, but I was more like a red shirt, give him a red shirt and a little bit of seasoning for a couple of years and then let him loose. But we could get bring in someone, hopefully they're cut, Kevin Byard coming from the Titans. If they cut him because he's still owed like $15 million this year. Taylor Rapp, who I would like young guy and actually was a playmaker there for the Rams the past 2 years. There's a couple options out there. Joe Johnson of the Browns. He's solid safety. We don't need spectacular back there, and I think just pairing Reed with one of these guys would give us a good solid duo to play behind those All-Pro and Pro Bowl corners and Bradbury and Slay. So I think we're in really good position here. No matter which route we go, draft, free agency. We've already gone free agency with the depth signing here with Justin Evans, but a mix of both. Let's move on to the next position, linebacker. So again, we call it another theme. we are losing both of our linebackers. T.J. Edwards signed with the Bears for a 3-year, $19 million deal, and Kazir White signed. I forget. I think he signed with the Jonathan Gannon led Arizona Cardinals 2-year, I think $11 million deal. So I mean, both of those guys are out of there, and we're not really including Sam linebackers, Hassan Reddick, because he kind of plays in a hybrid role for us, more as a rusher. I mean, he moonlights. He does a solid job as a run stuffer, but he's mostly there for the sacks. In the position he's a rushing linebacker, hybrid in our hybrid 3-4-4-3 defense with odd fronts. But yeah, I mean, like it's gonna be starting over. But once again, I'm so glad that Reed Blankenship, and I didn't want CJ to get injured, but glad that he got actual playing time, and we actually got maybe a potential starter last year. Look at him, in the starting position, because he did start a couple of games. I want to say maybe 5 or so when CJ was out. I mean, it was illuminating that we didn't put Kevon Wallace in there. He skipped him at some point during the season on the depth chart, and we immediately looked to him, a rookie, at that, to give to start important games for us, because we were didn't have the number 1 seed clinched until week in the last week of the season with the Giants. So and before that, we needed him in games to win them and keep us in them. And same thing here with Nakobe Dean. We didn't see him. He got a red shirt last year basically, but he had a nice tackle, showing us flashing the potential. One-arm tackle against King Henry, Derrick Henry, in the Titans game. And that showed me, I'm like, man, okay, if this guy gets up to speed, gets down the playbook, and is able to react instead of reading and reacting, and having that second step, slowing down his physical process out there on the field, being able to just move without thinking. Man, he's gonna be a player for us. And, he was at Georgia. He flashed a lot, behind that stellar line. And I was a leader out there, and I think he could do the same. We'll see. I think we're gonna look to him to start this year. Basically, like I said, he redshirted last year, and he's gonna fill one of those positions. I don't know which one, because we also brought in Nick Morrow, who I'll get to in a second. Just watched some tape on him. Thank you, the Football Scout, for highlighting his Chicago Bears film from last year. And yeah, man, a solid player. He really plays fast, light guy. So I don't know which one of these positions, either one of them is gonna fill. I want to say Nakobe's gonna be at the mic, but then again, he could, he's a young player. Would they put that much responsibility on him and trust him to lead that defense out there, have the green dot on his helmet? I don't know. I can't answer that. And Nicholas Morrow is a light guy. He's like 216, but he plays fast, and he ran a 4.52 coming into the league. He actually came in as a safety. The Raiders converted him, and it was a successful conversion. Had 116 tackles last year. Really flashing. 3 sacks off of 8 pressures on the quarterback. I mean, just the guy. I mean, even in the game against us, he was running around Lane Johnson. One of the best tackles in the league. Getting to the ball carrier, shutting down running lanes, getting in position. Holding up tackles, gapping them, so that other guys could float to the football and make the tackle. So I mean, team player and solid defender. So he's a great addition to the defense. Like I said, I'm not looking for him to be the top 5, top 10 linebacker, but if he can just play his role, do his job, and really flash, and be a good position. He had allowed only 4.5 yards of reception target last year, and just exceptional. So he could really rack up the tackles and be an impact player for us back there. And pair him with Nakobe Dean. Like I said, I don't know who's going to be the Mike and who's going to be the Will, but yeah, I mean, like, I think that pair together, they more than get it done. So I mean, maybe you see him as the Mike. I mean, I think either or, like, would put. I mean, because Nakobe cross-trained at both positions, Mike and Will. So he should be ready for either. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know which one. But I'd like to see, I think, Nakobe at Mike, if he can handle the responsibilities and leave Nicholas Morrow free to flow. I think that would be the best use of their capabilities. But I think either or, they could be interchangeable. So they can do that as well. we'll see. But we have depth with Sean Bradley, Davion Taylor. I mean, they're serviceable players, but you wouldn't want to see either one of these guys starting. Christian Ellis maybe because he flashed a little bit in garbage time. I like him actually better than those other two, so we will see. Let's move on to wide receiver. So obviously we have the headliners, A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, who combined for the first Eagles duo to have over 1,000 yards. A.J. Brown had 1,496 with 11 TDs, and Devonta Smith had 1,100, close to 1,200, and about 6 or 7 TDs. So I mean, those guys are bang bang, 1A and 1B. I mean, really, just spectacular, and they shine all throughout the playoffs. Particularly in the Super Bowl, but they did their job, in some games. But really, we don't have any depth behind them. You're looking at the depth chart here. Tyree Cleveland, somebody we signed from other squad. I think he was on the practice squad. Devin Allen, fast, but we don't know, if he can actually be a receiver. Britton Covey, great on special teams, but didn't really get any snaps in the regular offense, and even when he didn't really shine. Greg Ward, he can be dependable. He's more like a number 4. And Quez Watkins is inconsistent last year, kind of shifting his role after being a starter, number 2 receiver in 2021. Stepping into the role, when AJ bumped him down the depth chart, and he just never really took off. Will this kind of disappointing season? A disappointing season for him. Will he be able to bounce back and really take the slot and really play his role as a number 3 who's not going to see many balls in his offense? Who knows? I'd really ideally like to bring in another guy. If I could, you just ask me. I wanted to bring in Paris Campbell. He signed with the Giants. Really good signing. Speed receiver who they don't really take advantage of his speed. Will they do that in New York? We'll see. But he signed for not too much money. I thought it would be cheaper than he came, like $6 million. I was like, but DJ Chark is still out there. Could he play for, take a pay cut, play for a champion, NFC East champion, NFC champion? Who knows? NFC Conference champion. But he brings 4.34 speed. He's 6'4". He'd be a nightmare. He'd make this offense a nightmare. And, it all comes down to price, fit, and what the player wants. Is he really willing to, sacrifice, be a number 3, swallow his pride? I'd say probably not, but that'd be one of my receivers to take. Or in the draft, go after Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee, 4.41 speed. The guy just would break the top off the defense. And as a number 3, he would eat. He would fucking eat. And it would give us depth behind Quez initially, and then he would be able to challenge for that number 3 spot. And I would think that's what Quez needs, someone to light a fire up under him. And, it'd be great. That would wonderfully round out a nice receiver room. But regardless, I think they should draft somebody and bring somebody in, or go free agent route and try to, bring somebody competent that brings either excellent hands, excellent routes, or speed in that explosive element. And running back here, we brought in Rashad Penny, $1.35 million deal from Seattle. He's 5'11" or 6 foot, 220, but runs a 4.46, and his speed really does show. 2021, he had like a 7-yard average. 2022 was off to a great start, 300 yards. I think 6.5 or 6.6 average, or 6 point something, and he got hurt. I think he had a fracture ankle, and I think he was out for the year. And maybe he came back at the end of the year, but he has never played a complete season in any of his 5 seasons. So hopefully he breaks that trend with us. And then behind him, we have Boston Scott. And then the third bound back, Kenneth Gainwell, with Trey Sermon just sitting on the bench languishing for no good reason. But, he has a terrific upside. But Philly 500 said this ad nauseum. What would make this offense groundbreaking? Go out and draft Bijan Robinson, the man we just brought in for a fucking visit to Philly. Bring him in, man. He runs a 4.46 as well. But, man, his size, he's 5'11", but 215, he's solid. That was his playing weight. And he has great contact balance. He takes a hit. He's able to keep his feet, get extra yards, has great vision, able to, get in and out of the holes. And he caused 91 missed tackles last year. And I'm like, just amazing, bro. he would take this offense to the next level. If you get him, and if we get, let's say, like Hyatt or someone explosive like that, this offense will just become unstoppable. I mean, whatever you want to do, because we need to ease the burden off of Jalen with the running, and I believe Rashad Penny, if he stays healthy, that's a big if, would allow us to do that. Running, use our running back as a battering ram instead of our quarterback. Still have the threat of that, and then have the wrinkles off of it, some of which we showed last year. But man, that would make the offense just dangerously dynamic. So I mean, there's other guys. I'm really have an eye for Zach Charbonnet out of UCLA. Like he could be had maybe as a mid-round pick, third or maybe fourth if he slips that far. But there are like 20 running backs with a third-round grade, which is a starter in this league. Keep telling this dumb, so I keep arguing with on Zach Mott's, whatever his name is, channel. Thomas Mott, sorry. But you know who you are. But you won't never see this because you're not watching this. And you're not even watching though. But like he would be an excellent back for us. He's an old school back. But he does have speed, 4.53 speed, and he, faster than you think. And he just finds the hole. I think he had a 6 point something, 6.5 or 6.6 yard average, a high 6 yard per carry average, and that 7 yards per reception, something like that. I mean, so he catches the ball very well, soft hands. And that's one thing I miss saying this on B. John Robinson. He runs routes like a receiver, has soft hands. The way he catches the ball, go and watch the combine footage. I mean, just poetry in motion, just so fluid. So either of those backs, can, be 3-down backs for us. Working a screen game, we love screens here. And they would hold up as well, well in pass pro. So that's a must if you're going to play in the West Coast offense that we run. And, protect Jalen. So I mean, like, man, I'm just dreaming of a dynamic offense, with those guys, either those guys inserted in there with a dynamic wide receiver who actually catches the ball. Looking at you, Quez. And the last position they have here is punter, because it's Aaron Sipos in big games he just flubbed. In the Super Bowl, the reason that Kadarius Toney was able to take that punt back because he was supposed to, punt it down the sideline to the left and not make it a line drive. It was a line drive to the right, and he was able to get the ball, set up his blocks, and they were unprepared for him to reverse field, and the rest is history. He got it down, I think, inside the 10, maybe down to the 5 or so. And yeah, it just was bad position. I mean, that's beside the point, but just in big moments, I mean, that's consecutive years. In the Bucs game as well, he sucked. In this game, he sucked. I was coming off an injury, give the guy a break, believed in him, but they didn't even challenge him in camp last year. Bring a camp body in at the very least to challenge the guy, to not let him be complacent, have that mindset that he has the job already. Draft a guy, bring a guy in from free agency, or just a camp body. You just need to put pressure on this guy. Maybe that's not the way you want to have your kicker nervous or whatever, but it's the fucking NFL, National Football League. Nut up. All right, so let's get to some news around the league. Not a lot going on here. C.J. Stroud met with the Panthers. One of the 3 quarterbacks they're most likely looking at. C.J. Stroud, young, out of Alabama. Richardson out of Jacksonville, the young QB, dynamo, or Will Levis. So I mean, like, they have their pick of the litter at number 1. So it's on you, Pikachu. All right, Elijah Moore, big trade here. The 3rd round wide receiver being traded from the Jets to the Browns, and they sent their top pick in 2023, the number 42 overall pick, so a 2nd round pick, and they're getting back more and a 3rd round pick. So I mean, are you guys that hard up for a receiver? I really don't get it. But hey, it's y'all world, and just keep throwing away draft picks. So your top pick now is a 3rd round pick. Not a good start, but I mean, they traded for Deshaun Watson and they were all in, so they better be sure on that move. Dallas Cowboys re-signed Dante Fowler, signed back, I think, Takk McKinley, who was formerly a Cowboy. Trying to, searching for moves. They kind of limit themselves with the cap space, trading for Stephen Gilmore and for what's the wide receiver? Originally Saint Brandon Cooks. Yeah. All right. Oh man, Russell Wilson underwent arthroscopic surgery to clean out that knee. Better now than later, but it was a minor move. But it's just not a good sign anytime you see your quarterback going in for maintenance. All right, Denzel Perryman, the former Raiders linebacker and Chargers linebacker, signs a 1-year deal with the Houston Texans. So maybe he was looking at DeMeco Ryans like, oh man, linebacker is my head coach. I got to sign here, but solid move, solid linebacker. The Jacksonville Jaguars bring in Dearness Johnson, the unsung hero. They're coming up from the Browns. He filled in nicely when I think Bradley Chubb and Hunt were both out. Had a couple 100-yard games to his name. I think 3 and maybe 4 games. But I think that was 2021. But they get a solid guy behind Travis Etienne there in Jayville Duval. And Austin Hooper does sign with the Raiders, so they get both 2 tight ends. They signed the Alabama wide receiver who blew up, forgetting his name. Used to be a former Buck, and Austin Hooper. So they got a combo. OJ Howard, the combo blocking / receiving tight end, and then pure receiving tight end here, so they can do those use those double sets. David Long, at the time was a nice cornerback coming out of Michigan. Depth signing here for the Raiders, so not bad. Jalen Mills re-signs with the New England Patriots. They decide the Green Goblin that they know is better than the Goblin they don't. And also, they had a retirement in their secondary. Devin McCourty hung up the cleats after 13 years in the league, so maybe they'll play him more at safety than corner, but he also has the flexibility to play that position for them. All right, McCole Hardman going from the Chiefs to the Jets here on a 1-year, $6.5 million deal. And it has a speed element for them, but the big question for him is, can he stay healthy? He had a hip injury, couldn't even play in the Super Bowl. He got a ring, so nice for him, sitting on the bench. But he wants to get his money, and hopefully he's hoping to prove it / rest up this year, and then try again in 2024. And we mentioned that about the Elijah Moore trade, slot receiver. And that is going to be it for today. A little bit longer video. You're not even watching, so it's all good. But anyways, as we always say, it's fly, Eagles, fly, and let's motherfucking go. Like, comment, share, subscribe Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.